Xavi is making his big return to top-level football. Which Premier League giant will the Barcelona legend take charge of? Barcelona has set its sights on Manchester City's brightest young star. Will the citizens let Savinho go? Premier League heavyweights are locked in a fierce battle for Marc Guéhi. Who will win the race for the defender? And could AC Milan really sign Real Madrid's goalkeeper? In today's video, we'll break down all this and much more. Guys, let's try to rack up those likes. Your support truly makes a difference. Now, onto the hottest transfer rumors. Barcelona are already mapping out their next move ahead of the winter window, and let's be honest, Marcus Rashford probably isn't sticking around Catalonia much longer. According to Xavi'S, they've got their replacement lined up, Savinho. And yeah, it's the same old story for Barça. Financial limits haven't magically disappeared, so buying out Rashford's contract isn't happening. The budget just won't stretch that far. So now, priority shifts to renting him from Manchester City. Even last summer, Savinho's name was buzzing. Tottenham were all over him, genuinely tried to get the deal done. At one point, City were ready to let him go. Then at the last minute, changed their minds. Since then, he's signed a new deal running until 2031. The problem is that this season, he's barely playing. Form's been quiet, minutes are scarce, and whispers are starting to float about a possible January exit. Tottenham want to check in with the player himself before jumping back into talks. City might actually consider selling, but only if they can land Antoine Semenyo first. Think about it. If Savinho's already sitting on the bench, adding Semenyo into the mix basically shuts the door on his future there. If Spurs show real interest again, he might start pushing for a move himself. But now Barcelona have stepped in. Originally, people thought Barca weren't serious, that Savinho was just backup insurance for Rafinha. That's changed. Now, they see him as a direct Rashford replacement. They're not triggering any buy option for the Englishman. Expect him back at United when the season ends. Right now, Barca are focused purely on a loan deal for Savinho, and they're willing to take on most of his wages, which, given their current finances, still counts as a stretch. Whether City will bite is unclear. It makes sense if he lights it up in Spain, keeping his value strong, but lending firepower to a potential Champions League rival is always a gamble. Liverpool and City? Yeah, they're both properly interested in Marc Guéhi. However, Palace aren't budging. Their captain's staying put at Selhurst Park until the end of the season. Doesn't matter that his contract runs out in the summer. Doesn't matter there was serious talk about shifting him in January for a cut price fee. It's not happening. Not now. Both Liverpool and City will have to hold fire until summer. That makes sense. Guéhi isn't just another center back right now. He's one of the best in England. 25 years old, captain material, already leading a Premier League side week in, week out. So naturally, he's thinking bigger. Titles, Champions League nights, the kind of stage only the very top clubs can offer. Liverpool's had him on their radar for ages. They came this close to signing him last summer. Deal fell through. Now, with him heading into free agency, they've got a shot at landing a top-tier English defender. Young, ready to start straight away, without paying a penny in transfer fees. Sounds like a no-brainer. But don't get too comfortable. City are still very much in this, and they mean business. Stones is injury-prone. Ake is solid, but not always consistent over a full season. Guéhi is reliable, fast, smart, a leader. Fits Guardiola's system like a glove. And yeah, signing him for free is a massive bonus for a club under FFP pressure. Thing is, it's not just an English battle anymore. Rumors are starting to swirl that Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Bayern are sniffing around too. Sounds wild, maybe, but think about it. How often do you see a defender of this quality hit the market as a free agent? Almost never. If Liverpool or City really want him, they need to start talking. Now. Not next month, not after the season ends, right now. Whether he lands at Anfield as part of the rebuild or the Etihad to maintain their dominance, someone is getting a serious player. And while we're on reliability, shout out to you lot watching this on repeat but still not hitting subscribe. You're more consistent than half the defenders in the league, except instead of showing up on the pitch, you're showing up in my analytics as ghost viewers. Guéhi brings stability to the backline. I bring stability to your feed. Fix the glitch. Hit subscribe. No one's ever pulled a hamstring from tapping that bell. Promise. Barcelona, it seems, are up against those familiar financial constraints again. Reports now suggest the club is all but ruling out a permanent move for Marcus Rashford, and once again, it comes down to the same issue. The numbers just don't work within their current budget. Spanish sources say Barça are already preparing to send the player back to Manchester United as soon as his loan deal expires. There is a clause, just 30 million euros to make the move permanent. By today's standards, that's practically a bargain, especially for a player of his level. But long-standing financial issues mean hard decisions. And right now, the club looks set to walk away from signing the winger outright. Back in the summer, this looked like a smart piece of business. Bring him in on loan with an affordable option to buy. 30 million was seen as a steal, but now, the mood within the club has shifted. Leadership is hesitant, skeptical even, and yet, Rashford clearly wants to stay. There's been talk he'd even accept a pay cut to make it happen. On pure performance, the argument for keeping him is strong. He's thrived in La Liga. The stats speak for themselves. 7 goals, 11 assists across all competitions. One of their most consistent performers this season. But Barcelona have to count every euro. And it looks like they might let go of a top-level player who's rebooted his career after those difficult years at United, despite the modest price tag. Most likely, they'll send him back to Manchester and look at another loan deal instead. Savinho, from Manchester City, is emerging as the main alternative. As for Rashford, his form abroad has done his market value a world of good. Even if Barcelona step aside, he won't be short of options. PSG are interested. Atletico have been monitoring the situation for a while. If Barça pass on the deal, United might not mind at all. Rashford's back to his best, so if they do have to sell, they can demand a lot more than 30 million. That part, at least, makes perfect sense. Real Madrid find themselves in the spotlight again, and once more, it's because of Andriy Lunin. On the surface, Madrid's goalkeeper situation looked settled. The Ukrainian keeper signed a long-term deal running until 2030, widely seen as the perfect long-term backup, especially after stepping up so confidently for Thibaut Courtois when needed. But plans have a way of shifting. According to Defensa Central, AC Milan are now actively preparing the ground for a summer move. Their interest stems from uncertainty over Mike Maignan. The Frenchman still hasn't agreed to a contract extension. Milan offered him 7 million euros per year and heard nothing back. So they've started looking at alternatives, and Lunin has emerged as their preferred option. Now, Lunin only recently committed his future to Los Blancos. On paper, he remains second choice, but his performances in the Champions League knockout stages against Bayern and Manchester City showed exactly what he's capable of. He wasn't just filling in, he was keeping Madrid alive. That kind of impact naturally lifts his market value, which makes it all the more surprising that Milan are reportedly ready to offer just 10 to 15 million euros. That figure doesn't reflect the player he is now. It's hard to imagine Real Madrid even entertaining that kind of bid. Even with Courtois fit, having a reliable backup like Lunin brings real stability. It means you don't panic if your number one gets injured, especially during the business end of the season. Last summer, Lunin turned down a move to Turkey because he wanted to fight for his place in Madrid, but he's 26 now, prime years for a goalkeeper. And there's a difference between being first choice at San Siro and staying a backup, even at a club like Real. Add to that the fact United have also been linked with him, and it's clear he's got options. Right now, Real aren't looking to sell anyone. This winter, the only outgoing move was Endrick going on loan. That's it. So Milan will have to wait until summer. By then, things could look different. Lunin might ask for a conversation with the club, want clarity on his role, on how much playing time he can expect. Holding him back won't be easy, especially if an offer around 30 million comes in, along with the promise of starting. Come summer, Milan could return with a stronger bid, or United might step in more seriously. And Lunin himself may push for a move. Real will have to decide whether to keep a trusted deputy or cash in. Letting him go for next to nothing would be a mistake, especially if they need him later. Crystal Palace are seriously considering Xavi as their next manager. The club's already started looking for Oliver Glasner's replacement. And let's be clear, that search is happening now, not later. Glasner's leaving at the end of the season. That's settled. Palace see Xavi as one of the strongest options out there. First, the Glasner situation. He took over in early 2024 and honestly transformed this team. In less than a year, he turned them into FA Cup winners. Got them into the Community Shield too. 51 years old, sharp as hell, and he completely reshaped how they play. Quick pause if you've got a second, hit like or dislike. Doesn't matter which, just your reaction helps the channel. Appreciate it. The Palace board are more than happy with what Glasner's done. Wanted to keep him long-term, but the Austrians made his decision. His contract's up in 6 months, and he's told them straight, he's moving on. No drama, no hard feelings. Palace will respect that, and rightly so. Now, they're planning life after Glasner. According to Give Me Sport, they're already building scenarios, and Xavi is right at the top of the list. He's been a free agent since leaving Barcelona, and no, he hasn't been sitting around. Already turned down offers, including one from Al Ittihad back in September. This isn't about money for him. After Barça, he's waiting, patiently, for the right project. He needs stability, somewhere he can build, implement his ideas, live by his philosophy without chaos. Premier League football is appealing, not just because it's tough, but because it's the perfect stage to prove his style can work outside Catalonia, to show that possession, structure, and youth development aren't just Barça things, they're winning things. Palace know that. They've seen how he handled young players at Barça even during one of the club's toughest eras and still won a league title. His belief in positional play, his calm under pressure, his experience at the very top, it all fits. They haven't made an official move yet, still scanning the market. But make no mistake, Xavi their priority. Palace need a top-tier coach, and Xavi is looking for a new challenge.